So, to get started with our training today, we're going to be covering some basic voter tools for adding some voter data in and sending out some contacts to voters about issues through 360. To get started, I'm going to go ahead and show you the voter options available for individual records. So, I'm going to be using, just as an example, the governor of Ohio. So we've got John Kasich. And we don't need anything in this case more than just the fact that he's in Ohio. We'll save this record. One really cool thing you can do in 360 with regards to voter data is to enhance with our super voter data. Aristotle keeps a very comprehensive list of voter data for the United States, and simply searching off the address information, in this case just Ohio, and the name, you can find similar records. So in this case I happen to know it's the top record. Now once you find the selected record, you do want to carefully review this address and date of birth information. As you can see from the warning on the screen, appending voter data will overwrite fields that it comes into conflict with. So you want to make sure you've got the correct record. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And you'll see a lot of information has been brought into the record from the voter database. Now you might ask, what kind of things can I use this for? A really useful feature for using voter data is the fact that we have address information, and these are verified USPS addresses available. So a common instance is if you send out a mailing and you get some returned mail, wrong address, it's an easy way to go back and pull up those records. You can append the voter data, and you most likely will get a good address here and the other address line that you can use for future mailings. So it can definitely save you money on repeat mailings to prevent return mail. Notice we've also got a voter ID here. A phone number was brought in from that record. If you take a look at additional details after appending, you'll see you've got some political information pulled in and the registration date. Where possible, any demographic information available is pulled into this record. So anything that's on the record you may be able to get some additional information about. You also get voting history. This is really useful. You can see where your consistent voters are. You can search on this information. So it's a really convenient way to get a lot of info about records very quickly. Do note that district information is pulled off of the address field, so you may need to change that address to get district info. So again, that's enhanced with super voter data. It can be run on individual records in 360. Another useful tool is the Fat Cats compliance check. And this tool lets you view some contribution history. Now there are legal restrictions on the way you use this, so please do carefully read the disclaimer at the bottom, particularly regarding FEC information. There's a couple ways you can use this, though. You've got, in some cases, state information that has looser restrictions on how you can use it. So you've got some financial contribution history you can look at. You also can use this for your best efforts. When you have contributions and you need occupation and employer information that you don't have, this is a great way to get some of that information from previous contributions from that individual. Now the Fat Cats information tries its best to match off of the first name, last name, the address line 1, city, state, and the zip +4. So the more of that information you have in a record, the more accurate results here will be, which is a good thing to keep in mind. Now that we have a record and it's all filled out with some information, if we go back to Enhance with Super Voter Data, there's another really useful feature from these tools, and that is bringing in spouses and family members. As you can see, now that we've narrowed this down to a single record with address information, we've got similar records listed under possible household members, and you can bring those in and add a household directly from this page. Really great way to fill out your database with some information. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. Now, once you've got your voter data, obviously you'll want to do some activities to try and reach out to those voters. The first thing we're going to look at today is going to be call sheets. So under Reports, General Reports, and Individual Details, from here, you can do a search either by a list of individuals or based on a particular name. In this case, we're going to search for our individual we just created. And you can build out call sheets. So, notice you've got different export formats. If you wanted to send this to a calling house, for example, probably they'd want a CSV format. In this case, we're going to use PDF. And you have two different options for exports. You've got a details export, which has occupation and employer information. We're going to take a look at the phone list. So if you run a phone list export, you'll see we get a convenient list with some formatted phone numbers for this individual. And we only filled out one phone number on that record, but of course you get as much phone information as possible here for easy calling. And again, the details report has some other information that can be helpful. It gives you a more targeted call information. Now, another great option for contacting voters is, of course, walk lists or precinct walks. So under grassroots, we've got our walk list option. From here, you can choose a list. You can choose a test list. And you can bring this into a list report. Now, I've got a blank list here, so my report is not particularly interesting. But the walk list gives you the ability to go down the street and you can fill out information on your records as you do that walk. You've got phone number for contact, and you've got some basic info. There's also an enhanced walk list. And this lets you pull in a lot more information. Including some of the groups that you have created in 360. So this can be a lot more targeted to your list of individuals and the information you want to solicit. Once you've got your list, you have different export formats, including the Acrobat, which is an easy format to print, to pull from this list. So another feature in 360 that you can use for reaching out to people is, of course, our mass activities. So once you have this voter data, you can use activities and the mass activity wizard to either send out mass emails, or if you want to do a direct mail, you've got the mass correspondence wizard. Now, the mass correspondence wizard lets you generate direct mail either from a template or by building a enriched HTML document to print out. It also lets you pull in merge fields. So the first thing you'll need to do is give your activity a title, and if you want to, you can give it a description to help remember what this activity was about. If you're using activity campaigns, you can assign this an activity campaign here, and then you can pull up a saved list. I'm going to go ahead and use quick selections. Quick selections are a great way if you want to contact everybody in your database, for example, to just pull up all those individuals. So I'm going to run this for all active individuals in the database. Now, in this case, we're going to be reaching out to mail addresses. So you're going to want to choose the mail address default from the records that you want to reach out to. We're going to just select home here, and I'm going to go ahead and leave myself as the assigned user on these correspondence activities. The next step is to choose a subject and a description for your activities. Now, in this case, I'm just going to use demo. and then you can create your letter. Now, you can manage templates under Settings in the main page of 360, or you can create your letter here. One really useful item is the ability to bring in merge fields. So since you have these records in your database, you can merge dynamic information into them. For example, we could title our letter and each individual would receive a customized letter with their name included. You can also include images, and you've got some dynamic formatting features here, so you can really make a well-formatted letter. And once again, you can import a template if you save one of those under Settings. The email wizard is very similar. Once again, you go to Activities and New Mass Activity. From here, you can reach out to a group of people using bulk email. Once again, you give your activity a title to keep it in the system for your own information, and a description here by which you can group this. And then you can assign an activity campaign. We're going to use our same quick selection, all active individuals. And because this is an email, you'll have a bit more information to enter about yourself. You can choose the address that you want to send from. You can also set a separate reply to address in case that you have a bounce checking enabled in the main mail account. You want a reply to address where you can actually receive those emails. You can choose the email type that you want to reach out to. In this case, since it would be voter information, we're going to choose personal. And once again, I'm going to leave myself as the user assigned. By default, if you leave the reply to email address blank, the sender's email address will be used as a reply to address. So, we've got similar options here. We can choose our email subject line, and then we've got our formatting wizard, where we can either use a template saved in the system, or we can create a template here using merge fields, images, and some formatting options above. So, this is going to be one of our shorter webinars, but just to review, Voter Tools in 360 includes the ability to pull in voter data using super voter data from the right-hand side of individual records. You can use that to pull in family information to create households in your system. You can also get voter history that way. From the same individual records, you can grab Fat Cat compliance data to see previous history of donations, either for best efforts or in some cases to help you with your contributions. Once again, just note there are some legal restrictions on that. Be sure to read the disclaimer. 360 has the ability to pull walk lists and phone lists for contact, and we also have mass activity wizards for reaching out to voters in large groups. I'm going to go ahead and review our training video page just because I see some people have joined since the beginning. I want to make sure you get that information. All of our webinars will be hosted online at http://go.aristotle.com/training videos. And once again, the password for accessing these is Aristotle with the I replaced with 1 and the E replaced with 3. AR1STOTL3. Thank you for joining us. I hope that this is helpful for voter information and voter functions. And if you have any ideas for webinars, please send them to support@aristotle.com.